Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, salatu wa salam ala rasulullah, amma ba'd. This is your brother Nafees, Abu Zayd. And alhamdulillah, tonight's talk, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we will be addressing, inshallah ta'ala, the issue of the Kensington section of Philadelphia. So we chose the title, this particular mawdu', this topic, inshallah ta'ala, what it takes to give dawah here in Kensington, in the Kensington section of Philadelphia. What does it take to give dawah here in the Kensington section of Philadelphia, the home of Masjid Tawbah? And this comes from my experience of being an imam at Masjid Tawbah for currently the last 8 years, and what I have witnessed from the environment, from the congregation itself at this particular masjid, and some of the challenges as well as the addictions as well as the harms that one faces when living in Kensington. And this is somewhat like an advice, bi'idhnillah, to the new administration of Masjid Tawbah, as well as to those individuals who think they are up for the task of dealing with giving dawah here in the Kensington section, because this is a real challenge and an obstacle for many. Tayyib, after praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and singing salutations upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is no doubt that to anyone who embark in the path of giving da'wah, they must make sure that first and foremost they're seeking the face of Allah Azza wa Jal. And they must also make sure that they are what? That they are those, as Imam Ahmed mentioned, that they are those who remove the ignorance from themselves. Because a part of the intention of seeking ilm or seeking knowledge is to what? To remove ilm from oneself, to remove ignorance from oneself and to remove it from others. So you must make sure that dawah is based upon that, calling to the way of Allah Azza wa Jal with sincerity and true dedication. However, what I witnessed in Kensington, we live in an environment, or we live, for those who live in the Kensington area and have been here, we're dealing with I wouldn't say a plague, but as an onslaught of being saturated with drugs, prostitutions, addicts, people night and day. And I'm telling you, this is non-stop. This is not something I can make up. I can turn the camera on, you can see it all day. People night and day, getting high, being stronged out. And that was spilled over to the congregants that would come inside the masjid. We didn't witness individuals who had overdosed in the bathroom several times. Different individuals were overdosed inside the bathroom of the masjid. We have witnessed individuals who were going to school and temple who relapsed, and now they are out on the streets and they are high and they cannot fight or shake the monkey, so to speak. We have witnessed individuals such as when Abu Sajid, by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, may Allah protect him from every evil, when we invited him down to teach and give a class inside Masjid Tawbah, he witnessed himself at first hand individual dipping in the class, or nodding in the class while he's going over Al-Fatiha. I say all of this to say to you that the last thing that Masjid Tawbah need right now, and I'm going to get to my point inshallah, is another class on ibadah. The last thing that Masjid Tawbah need right now is another class on ibadah. There are certain acts of ibadah that should be chosen, as we was advised by Sheikh Abdullah al-Majid, on what we should concentrate in an area that is heavily populated with drugs and oversaturated with drugs and addicts and people who are fighting addictions, and such as the area of Kensington, where prostitutes are abundant. The Sheikh gave us a beautiful advice, and in that advice he said that you concentrate on two things. The first thing you're going to concentrate on, you're going to concentrate on the qalb, the qulub, those things that will touch and affect the heart. And those things are no doubt is at-tawheed, being at the head of it. You want to address the issues of dealing with Tawheed in its most practical sense that it can be taught, so that people, inshallah ta'ala, can hold firmly to Allah Azza wa Jalla and help them to uproot some of those addictions or some of those problems that they have with Tawheed, connecting their hearts to Allah. And then he said, the next thing you want to concentrate on is those aspects that are specific to ibadah, not just general aspects of ibadah, but like wudu, salat. These particular things that if an individual will have, inshallah ta'ala, if an individual will understand properly, be able to turn to their Lord and ask their Lord properly for help to over-challenge some of the obstacles that they have when being faced, especially in environments such as this. I want to bring some statements, inshallah ta'ala, from Sheikh Salih Fawzan, hafidhahullah, about the harms and the danger and the effects of khamr. And when I say khamr, I'm not talking about just wine. I'm talking about all types of intoxicants that alter the minds. And this is something that any diet that comes down to the Kensington section, it must make sure that they understand the people that they are addressing. As Ibn Taymiyyah, he mentioned that there are 3 conditions, especially when commanding the good, forbidding the evil. But one of those conditions that he mentioned is that the person should have what we call ilm. He should have knowledge of the condition of the people that he is commanding the good and forbidding the evil. And no doubt teaching Tawheed and warning against shirk is commanding the good, forbidding the evil. No doubt teaching the sunnah and warning against bid'ah is a form of commanding the good, forbidding the evil. And the person should know the how or the condition or the state of the people that they are addressing. And when you know the state and the condition of a people, then you know how to address them. You will not address them with a general talk that support your agenda, such as aiding the people of the sunnah. People are strung out. They still have girlfriends. Literally, I'm talking about the congregants, still have girlfriends. People are strung out. People are fighting addictions. People are out there non-stop, nowhere to live, moving back and forth, being high. Their hygiene problems. People are unemployed. And you're talking about aiding the people of the sunnah. No, let's aid the people to overcome their nafs. Let's aid the people to overcome and fight and suppress their nafs. Something that all of us have a battle with. Allahumma ansurna ala anfusina ameen. We ask Allah to give us victory over our nafs. طيب, the Shaykh, he mentioned the ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِّمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا تَفْضِيلًا. This verse comes in Surah Al-Isra, the 17th chapter of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, indeed we have honored the children of Adam, and we have honored them and we have carried them both on land and in sea. وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ, and we have provided them with all types of طيبات, those things that are good, that are wholesome, that are halal, that are permissible. وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ, we have preferred them over many of the creation of those things we have created with a excellent preference. We have preferred them over many of the creation of created. And the Shaykh said, وَمِمَّا كَرَّمَ اللَّهُ بِهِ هَذَا الْإِنسَانِ الْعَقْلِ الَّذِي يَمْتَازَ بِهِ أَنَا حَيَوَانٍ. And from those things which Allah Jalla wa Ala has honored man, honored with, meaning honored this man with, is an intellect whereby he is able to distinguish from the other types of animals, other types of species rather. وَيُمَيِّزَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْخَيْرِ وَالشَّرِّ, and he is able with this intellect to distinguish between what is good for him and what is evil. وَضَرَّ وَنَافِعْ, what is beneficial for him and what is harmful. فَإِذَا فَقْدَ الْعَقْلِ لَمْ يَكُنْ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ حَيَوَانٍ فَرْقٍ. So, listen what the Shaykh is saying, and this is important, because when you're addressing the people who are intoxicant, when you're addressing the people who their aql is under an influence, then they don't know how to differentiate between what is good and what is harmful. then they are not able to receive or to deal with some of the aspects or the concepts that you're trying to introduce to them. They don't understand those acts of worship that you might be mentioning at that time, because their mind are influenced. As the Sheikh is saying here, this person, if his intellect is lost, if it's not there, if he's void of that intellect, what's going to happen? There will be no difference between him and an animal. There will be no difference between him and an animal. If the person's intellect isn't there, and this is what you're going to see when you live in Kensington. This is why we gave it the nickname Gotham City. This is why we also call it the land of the dead, the walking dead. Because nine times out of 10, anyone going through Kensington will see that the type of impoverished neighborhood that we live in, where people are shooting up, females are taking needles right in front of you in broad daylight, putting it inside their breasts with no problem you looking on. And this is what the Sheikh is going to continue to mention, that once that akal is gone, then you don't have no shame of hayat. You don't have no sense of hayat. All of that is removed from you. So you're going to behave in any manner you wish, because you don't have the hayat. And our brothers that come to the masjid, they are struggling with these type of challenges there in the masjid. Get the biggest population during Jumu'ah, and you have different people that might be passing by. But the actual congregants of the masjid and that area, that lives in that area, they are facing some challenges. So I said it to say that giving dawah here, especially as an advice to individuals, forget your agendas. Forget trying to counteract the night shift. Look at the people. Look at what's in front of you and try to tackle it and take it on. But be sincere and be dedicated, because it takes real tough men to be able to stand in Kensington. Wallahi, tallahi, wallahi. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not saying I'm one of them. But it takes tough men to be able to deal with individuals on such a level. Where are your programs? Where are your people that understand drug addictions and how to deal with people who are affected with drug addictions? Where is this type of understanding at? Where are your people that deals with the fathers, that deals with people who regress and relapse? Where is this understanding? What program are you going to have in play to deal with those individuals? Sprinkling people with some concepts of little classes with big names, so-and-so came down, he talked about the aspects of ibadah and aiding the people of sunnah. That's not helping us right now. Talking about the people of bid'ah is not helping us right now. Not in this area. You can talk about bid'ah, yes, in generality, for those people that we know that are striving, alhamdulillah, that can understand those concepts, alhamdulillah. But if you're dealing with a person who's still got a girlfriend, she's kicking him out every other month, you're dealing with a person who doesn't have a job, who might be out there on the block, when you're dealing with a person who's fighting his nafs constantly, then you have to address those issues that would aid that person and support that person to be able to stand on his own 2 feet, to remove the cloudiness from his akal. And you can't do that unless you understand the how of the condition of the people. So don't embark yourself on the path of giving dawah in Kensington unless you did your homework. Unless you have done your homework. And I'm going to tell you, for years, out of the 8 years that I've been there, it has been a tremendous challenge to watch brothers who have prayed with you, who have fasted on the month of Ramadan with you, who have ate and broke fast with you, to watch these individuals go through changes such as drug addiction, from being healthy to being like a toothpick, and to have to close your doors on them because they refuse to take those necessary steps to get help when you lead them towards that way. It's a must, akhi. You understand the feeling that you get, that your heart is crushed to watch your brother be in that state. And I have many brothers that I've witnessed in that state while being in the town of Kensington. And people think, by the permission of Allah Jalla wa'ala, that we can keep going around in these urban neighborhoods and to these masajids, and all we're doing is talking about fighting against the people of bid'ah and, That's not it. That's not the treatment. The treatment, alhamdulillah, is what we see a lot of our brothers are beginning to talk about when they deal with those classes like Shadaratul Iman, or they goes into the classes of Al-Fatiha in detail, when they deal with those certain things that address those issues of the heart and try to help people come off by getting them to connect themselves to Allah, because they can't do it without themselves. So the Shaykh continues real quick, and before I end, inshallah, I know the salat come in. He said, وَإِنسَانُ الَّذِي فَقْتَ عَقْلَهُ لَا يَنْتَفَعُ. Okay, before we go on, he said, بَلْ يَكُونَ حَيَوَانُ أَحْسَنَ حَالًا مِنْهُ. First he said that the person who loses aql, he is no different than the other animals. And rather that the other animals will be better than him. لِأَنَّ حَيَوَانَ يَنْتَفَ بِهِ. Right? Because the species, they will be able to thereby benefit. وَالْإِنسَانُ الَّذِي فَقْتُ عَقْلُهُ لَا يَنْتَفَعْ بِهِ. And the person, the man who loses his senses, his aql, his intellect, this individual will not be able to benefit for anything that is beneficial to him. وَإِنَّمَا يُصْبِحُ آلَ عَلَى غَيْرِهِ. Rather, he becomes a harm and a tool and an instrument against others. This is what we're seeing. يُفَكُّرُ الْإِنسَانُ فِي آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَتَفَكُّرُ فِيهَا. And with the aql, the person needs the aql because a person can be able to reflect on the verses of Allah and to derive understanding from them. A person is able to reflect. Think about that. So you're coming down there cracking a book with your white thobe on, and you say, I'm going to go over class, but half of the people in the ranks with you, they don't even understand the concept you're talking about. They just might got finished getting high, or on their way to getting high, or on their way to go see their girlfriend. This is the behavior we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with on a daily basis. You understand? So we have to gear the people away from titles and names, Salafiyah and Salafi names. We have to gear them away from that, because what happens is the shaitan is tricky, and man himself will become tricked by this. All I have to do is say I'm Salafi. All I have to do is wear this. All I have to do is support these group of students. All I have to do is go to this masjid. So you mean I can be a zani, an adulterer, or fornicator? You mean I can be a sinner? You mean I can be a thief? You mean I can be a robber? You mean I can be a murderer? You mean I can be this womanizer, or this person who abuses others? I can be all of that. All I have to do is say I'm Salafi. This is the culture that the self-proclaimed students of the West have created. This is the culture. And I'm not just taking shots, I'm being direct here. This is the culture for the past 20-something years. And it comes from inexperienced students who do not have the necessary grit nor the knowledge that's adequate enough to deal with the harms and atrocities of the communities that they live in. And it's arrogant to believe that you do have the grit because you spent 6 months in Yemen, because you spent 2 years here, or you spent 3 years here, or you spent 8 years there. It's arrogant enough to think that you have what it takes to deal with people who are facing real challenges and real demons. Do you have it? And this is what it takes. Real grit. Side by side with a person who cannot overcome his addiction. And you can't even sympathize with him because you don't even want to be in that area. You don't want to be around that particular person. But you come down and you smile in the people's face and you put up your tweets. Alhamdulillah, the people of the Sunnah is aiding the people of the Sunnah. Who are you aiding? Because you're not aiding Kensington. You're not aiding people who are stuck into their stupor and into their, into their trials, into their tests, into their fitna. You're not aiding it. So we don't want to be fooled by that. My advice, as I experience here, is that we need people who have true knowledge and who understands how to deal with people in these behaviors, in these behavior patterns. So if we have people that's from us that are psychologists, if we have people from us that are social counselors, that know how to deal with drug addictions, out of 22 years you've been here, you haven't figured it out yet that you have not one drug program, Islamically, to deal with the Muslims that are drug addicts. You haven't put one program together or got together with a collective body of people and the right people to say, let's do this and deal with these individuals for this way. Because they're still humans. And they are Muslims. And there's many of them that have problems. But you have not dealt with that issue. But what you did deal with, we Salafi, alhamdulillah, we bought a new building. Alhamdulillah. That's not it. So, continuing, because it's a statement that he mentioned here that I want to mention before I close up. He said, وَعَقُ يَحَمُلُ الْإِنسَانَ عَلَى يَتَحَلَّ بِالْفَضَائِلِ وَيَتَقَلِّ عَنَ الرَّذَائِلِ. He said that the aql, it is something that drives man to adorn himself with all types of virtues. A man needs the aql. If he doesn't have the aql, the intellect, the proper intellect, then he cannot adorn himself with those virtuous and pious acts. It cannot happen. And he said also to free and shed himself from those lowly, debased acts and actions, such as being a thief, a liar, a robber, a fornicator, an adulterer, such as being all of these different things. What's going to help him to remove that and not to want to be that way? If you find yourself, wallahi tallahi wallahi, and this is something that all of us have to ask ourselves and all of us have to be truthful with ourselves. If you find yourself still being a big sinner after coming to Islam, still doing all of these particular acts, I'm talking about major acts here. If you find yourself being consistent in doing that, then what has Islam done for you? Because history has shown us that when the companions embraced Islam, they gave up and they removed themselves from those issues. This is why you hear ayats where Allah Jalla wa Ala talks about يُخْرِجُونَهُم مِّنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ, that we have took them out from darkness and brought them into light. This is because they have left off those actions. But there has been a culture that was created by the self-proclaimed students of the West that it is okay as long as your Aqidah is straight. And your Aqidah and your behavior goes together, hand in hand, as Sheikh Tahir mentioned. There's no way in the world, as Sheikh Islam Taymiyyah mentioned, at the end of that beautiful book in Aqidah al-Wasatiyah, he brought the adab, the etiquettes. Why did he place it there? As Sheikh Tahir explained, because to show you that what? Aqidah and adab goes together. You can't have a strong Aqidah and your adab and your etiquette is not right. They don't go together. But you have created a group of individuals who think it's okay because of the location, because of the people they support, because of what they wear, and the fact that they might know some concepts of Tawheed, but they haven't really studied it in its actual form. The statement I wanted to bring was, the Sheikh, he mentions that the ulama, they have mentioned that there's over 120 different types of harm that affects both one's deen and one's worldly life when dealing with khamr, when dealing with intoxicants. It is over 120 different types of harm that affects one deen and one dunya, one worldly life, when dealing with it. And in reality, mashallah, in reality, this is what we're facing with in Kensington. It's a drug epidemic down here. And they're letting these people off by the busload. And there's a lot of Muslims down here who are affected by it, who have succumbed to it. And they need professional help. They need people who really want to see them supported and removed from that type of state. And that's going to take more than some self-proclaimed students. It's going to take more than a lecture on aiding the people of the Sunnah. It's going to take more, and then intended by the people of the Sunnah yourselves and your group. That's going to take more than that. It's going to take some real people to pull up their sleeves and actually get with the right people and connect with them so that we can create programs that help, not programs that we can milk the system and get money from. Not programs like prevention centers that they're doing down here. They have prevention centers where they're allowing these people to be sheltered and provide them with needles so they can continue to get high, but it's not even helping them, and the government is benefiting from that. That's not the type of programs I'm talking about. I'm talking about real live programs that aid the Muslims and get the Muslims away from the actual addiction and allow them to be able to actually ascertain and reach the heights that they are mentioning. We are losing our men in abundance due to the drug epidemic down here. We are losing our men. Therefore, when you lose your men, the woman is losing the full support. It makes her step outside of the road that was destined for her and decreed for her to now take that role on of the man. And henceforth, once she begins to do that, it's only natural that she now will counteract or go against the natural system of man and woman. It's only natural. And this is what we're losing. How many sisters have lost their spouse due to drugs? Pills. People are addicted to pills. Muslims, Muslimas, getting high off pills. This is the place. Any drug, you name it, you come down here. You don't see too many Muslims sliding through here. If they're down here, trust me, majority of the times it's dibbing and dabbing. But we have to be realistic. How do we reach them? This, you want to aid the people of the Sunnah? Let's aid the people who want to adhere to the Sunnah. Let's aid the people who want to listen and follow the Sunnah. If you want to aid the people of the Sunnah, aiding the people of the Sunnah is not aiding your particular group. It's not aiding your particular agenda. It's not aiding and making a tweet about it or taking a pitch. Look how many people showed up. Barakallahu feekum. No, that's not it. It takes real work when you come down here. And to separate the boys from the men when you come to Kensington. And you know whether or not you really want to give dawah. If not, you want to be a person just open up some books, go here and give a lecture there, give a lecture there, then that's what you want to do and that's where you go at. But if you want to come here, it's going to take some real work. And real work takes those steps. You want to have to take those necessary steps and work with professionals, even if they might be kuffar. Because if our Muslims don't take the time out to learn, if our Muslims don't go to these schools, such as a funeral school, yes, to learn about funerals, to learn about how to properly and so forth, so they can get the license, so that we can have our own mortician, so that we can one day, inshallah, buy our own graveyard. Muslims who learn these type of professions and these type of different trades and knowledge, so that we can support one another. If we're not on that encouragement, then you can miss me with the Salafiyah boat. You can miss me with that. Because the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they did real work. And when you read their biography, you saw real work. They said that Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, I'll leave you all with this. They said that at night, they said on his body he had two trap marks that was on his body. And that was from him carrying the food at night, feeding the people while they were asleep. He was going around dropping off food to the Muslims' homes while they were asleep, those who are in need of the food. And he would do this on his own, and Allah Jalla wa Ala rewarded him. This is mentioned in his biography. Real work. Real work. Where's these type of characteristics that we're not, where's this at? Real work. Not, you understand? They said that Umar ibn Khattab, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was such that he wouldn't sleep at night without checking on those under his command. Real work. That's what it takes. And if you're not up for the task, if you're not up for the task, then you can miss us with the Salafiyah boat. You can miss us with the self-proclaimed. You can miss us with all the accolades. We're not impressed over here. We want to be impressed by really helping people, man. They're strung out. Because if you ain't witnessed your mother getting high, you ain't witnessed your father getting high, you ain't witnessed your brother being succumb to his lower desires, and you know he can be better than that. If you haven't witnessed that from your sister, or your cousin, or family member, someone that you actually, love and grew up with, what help are you doing? I can care less about your name and what reputation that you have. I can care less about that. I can care less about how many times you're going to keep cracking open a book. Because right now, if the people's aql is not intact, that book is not aiding them. So who is the book helping? When you open the book, who is the book helping? You want the people to be able to understand whatever's in that book that you're trying to bring to them. So you have to understand their condition. And we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to make us all sincere in giving da'wah. And that means that we have to, start practicing the da'wah within ourselves first and foremost, and then, try to adhere to it and call others to it. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to aid the Kensington section of Philadelphia. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send us true du'at, people who really understand what's in front of them, to help our brothers and sisters that are falling into this certain, these trials and these tribulations, because it's a fitna. Wallahi, it's a fitna. And we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to allow the masjid to remain, even if certain personalities are not there, such as myself, because I'm not Masjid Tawbah, and nor do I profess to be Masjid Tawbah, and nor do I believe I'm the one that built Masjid Tawbah. I do not hold these ideas. I do not hold these thoughts in my mind. So for anyone who have any misconceptions to think that Nafees Abu Zayd believe that Masjid Tawbah is no longer going to be there because he's not there, that is a big misconception. You don't know me and you don't understand me. I'd rather have the masjid there, because that's the bait of Allah. And I'm the person that want to see the masjid flourish, not because you think, because I need to be there. I don't need to be there for it to flourish. Allah Jalla wa Ala is going to support and aid His deen with or without me. And you have to understand that. But one thing we're not going to be supportive of, if individuals are not going to tackle the problem at hand. And that's always been my biggest issue being around, is that we have to learn how to tackle the problems at hand. Face those problems dead on. That's what we need to learn. And trust me, it's hard. Wallahi, it's hard. It was times I'm scratching my head. It's hard, brothers. Especially when you're fighting your own vices. Especially when you're fighting your own misbehavior. Especially when you're dealing with your own family issues. Especially when you're dealing with it's hard. But when you're supportive of one another and you have the aid of Allah Azza wa Jal, and you believe in the aid of Allah Azza wa Jal, then you're going to continue, and you're sincere, you're going to continue to carry out that tremendous task by the permission of Allah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us in this life and the next life. And anything that we said that was incorrect in this talk was definitely from ourselves and shaitan. Whatever we said was correct is from Allah Jalla wa Ala. And may all of us be able to offer maghrib, and Allah accept it from us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.